So let's talk about why you look like a frame cell in clothes, even though you have a pretty good physique. And this actually goes to show the importance of style maxing as well, because it is one of the most underrated looks maxes out there and one of the most important, but still gets overlooked, right? Because firstly, it can make you appear more NT because it shows your social calibration from following trends. It can enhance your proportions by making certain parts of your body look longer or shorter. It can give you niche maxing opportunities, right? Because let's say you dress up as like a emo, grunge, whatever alt person, it can give you more niche maxing opportunities. But in this video, I want to focus on how it can enhance or destroy your frame and height, whether through visual illusions or just actual frauding methods, right? Actual height frauding methods. And right, you can see, right? Because even if you have a really good physique, if you mess up and you don't dress, very well, you can literally look like a DYEL. And of course, your clavicle length plays into that as well. But we should be maximizing what we have, whether it's through physique or clothing. So let's get to the first point. So first reason is your shirt size is simply too small, right? Because if you have a small frame, you cannot be wearing small size clothes, right? Because if you have a small frame and you wear something like a compression shirt, the compression shirt is just going to press down on your frame and show everyone how small your frame is. Everyone you see that actually looks good in compression or really small clothes, they usually have a pretty good frame. They usually have a pretty big frame. Whereas if you have a small frame, then you should be leaning way more on the baggy side of clothes, right? Because again, small frame plus compression shirt is just going to highlight and accentuate your small frame for everyone else to see. So you should be leaning way more on baggy clothes. And you can just see in this example as well. This is the same guy. I think it's actually Aesthetics of Waiting on YouTube. But you can see when he wears a small shirt like this, it just presses down on his body and it just does not look very good, right? It makes his frame look a lot smaller. Whereas when he wears a baggy shirt like this, you can see because of how baggy it is, the sleeves basically fall outwards like that and makes his whole upper body look way wider. And as a note on wearing baggier clothes, right? You don't be afraid to go up a size, even if it seems, too long at certain places. You can always, if this shirt gets too long, you can always just trim it, right? Whether through a tailor or doing it yourself, where you trim it so it's at the proper height around your waist. And same thing with the sleeves, right? If you find the sleeves are too long, you can just trim it, whether through a tailor or by yourself, to ideally you want it to sit around the midpoint of your biceps. But in my opinion, for baggy clothes, if you have long sleeves, then it's not that bad. It's the main part you should be worried about is the bottom part, right? You don't want the bottom part to get all the way down here. So you can always just adjust it, right? Don't be afraid of buying a baggier shirt, even if it seems too long. You can always just get it adjusted to the proper length. But yeah, first point is your shirt size is too small. So if you're wearing a medium, you should try going up to a large. If you're wearing a small, you shouldn't really be wearing a small, like in general, but if you are wearing a small, then you should definitely be going up to at least a medium, right? And then there's also different fits as well, right? There's also, if you look at different clothes, they have loose fit, tight fit, normal fit, slim fit. So just be aware of that as well, right? If you want more baggy options, then yeah, you should go more for the loose fit label on clothes. Now, second thing is getting some kind of tapered shirt, right? Because when you have something like this, where it kind of comes down, like whether it's straight down like that, or it even comes like an upside down triangle, it'll just make your frame look really terrible, right? This wearing something like this will basically destroy the appearance of your frame. And you can kind of see in this photo as well, right? This guy's like Joel on TikTok. You can see he kind of did the first 2 points where he has a shirt that's too small, so the sleeves are basically super tight on his body. And you can see at the bottom, it kind of comes out like an upside down triangle like that as well. So what he should be doing instead is getting a shirt that's bigger, right? So it's like, okay, maybe not that big, but it sits out more so like that, where it's a lot baggy on the top. And for the bottom, he can taper it so that it's, tighter around his waist. That's gonna improve his physique way more. It's actually gonna make him look way better. Whereas he's wearing something like this, which is tight at the top, but then kind of loose down here at the bottom, which is exactly the opposite of what you should be doing. So you can either get some form of tapered shirt, which is pretty common in athletic clothes like Under Armour, Nike, and stuff like that. You can get, I think it's called slim fit in some stores, which again, it'll make you look way better. Or you can just, get a shirt tailored or do it yourself, right? Like that. And the concept I want you to be aware of is the shape over size theory. So, right, this is kind of a life fuel for a lot of narrow clavicle guys. But in general, right, it's the absolute measurement, right? Your bideltoid does matter, right? Let's not kid ourselves. But even if you don't have a very good bideltoid measurement, if you have a proper V shape, right, a really good V shape, then that can still be very attractive. It's just like how, this girl, right, shape over size. The absolute measurement of her hips may not be very large, but we still find that attractive because of the shape. Whereas someone like this, where the absolute measurement of her hips is, way larger, right? The absolute measurement of this guy's bideltoid may be way greater than Leon Edwards, but because they don't have the shape, right? They kind of look like blobs. Their physiques are not as attractive. Whereas, Leon Edwards, you can actually see Leon Edwards has relatively narrow clavicles, right? But because he developed the shoulders to enhance his bideltoid, and he also has the lats to create the V shape, he still has the V shape, which gives him a really aesthetic physique. And also, right, as a side note, he has short hair. And in general, when you have short hair, it can actually make your frame look wider because when you have long hair, your whole head looks bigger, which makes your frame look smaller. But when you have short hair, it makes your head look smaller and your frame bigger. Now, short hair is a bit of a looksman, but you should just be aware of that, right? In case you really have a small frame and you really want to look wider, then you may want to consider sacrificing some of your hair to improve the appearance of your frame. But yeah, that's shape over size theory. That's why getting a tapered shirt that's just, uh, smaller at the waist area, it can just make your shoulders look wider, even though the absolute measurement does not change at all, right? It's all an illusion strategy to make your frame look better. And lastly, is to just fraud your frame, right? This is the simplest method, and it's actually a really effective method. However, I would not recommend you use any kind of those shoulder pads that you see on TikTok or Amazon, right? Those are all just really subpar ways of frauding your frame. The best way to fraud your frame is to get one of these Korean frame frauding t-shirts, right? These are basically shirts, like undershirts that you wear that have a shoulder pad built in. And it's really discreet, right? You can literally just wear it under whatever clothes you're wearing. And when you take it off, when you take off the shirt, it's just like any other shirt, right? It comes right off and the shoulder pad is hidden inside as well. So it's really discreet, right? You can kind of see, if you zoom in, you can kind of see it. But again, it is the most discreet and honestly the best way of frauding your frame because it literally looks just like a white t-shirt and you can see how effective it is as well. And on the website, it's 30,000 won, which is around $20. And they have two options: the 3 centimeter, which is the 1 inch total bideltoid option, or the aggressive 5 centimeter option, which is adding an extra 2 inches of bideltoid across your whole frame. And adding an extra 2 inches across your frame, right? Let's say your average at 20, adding 2 inches can literally take you from average to the 90th percentile. That's how powerful it is, right? For only $20. And I'm not going to share it on YouTube, right? Because it's too powerful and and my videos are getting more views as well. And I can't have everyone wearing this because of how powerful it is. And it's something that I only share in my private community. So yes, this is something that I have to gatekeep, unfortunately, and I can't share it on YouTube. But if you still want to fraud your frame, you can always get like shoulder pads and stuff like that. But in my opinion, that is way inferior to getting this specific brand of Korean frame frauding t-shirts, right? And you have to also use a separate third-party website as well because they only ship to Korea. So you have to use a special service that will buy it for you in Korea and then ship it to your country as well, which I talk about in my private community as well. So if you're interested in joining my private community, I have that link in the description, right? We kind of talked about some basic illusion strategies involving clothing and style and some fraud maxing strategies, but I also talk about how to build muscle without aging and cortisol maxing yourself, how to set up your diet, how to use science-based lifting to make the fastest gains possible in your gym selling journey. And yeah, just a lot of interesting stuff, which, if you like my videos and you find this helpful, then I think you're gonna really find my private community helpful as well. So yeah, go check that out, link in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.